Are you desiring more out of life? More love, more connection, more experience, just more aliveness? Well, that is your soul calling you. And together we are going to uncover those soul desires and help you bridge the gap between your physical life and your true soul self. Welcome to the Suddenly Spiritual Podcast. My name is Emilee. I'm an intuitive, a psychic medium, and someone who recently and very suddenly awakened to spirituality. On this podcast, we are going to talk all about connecting with your soul to live your fullest, most beautiful life. We're going to talk about spirituality from the perspective of the everyday person. It's my goal that you feel seen and supported on this journey of discovering your soul and awakening to the incredible world of spirit. Let's get started. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Suddenly Spiritual Podcast. This is Emilee. I'm happy you're here as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. If we haven't met before, like I said, my name's Emilee. I'm the host of this podcast. I am an intuitive, developing medium, and I'm just happy to have you here and listen as I chat with you about all the incredible spiritual things I have been thinking about, discovering, learning. The purpose of this podcast is really to share what I'm learning on this spiritual journey and help you connect more deeply with your soul. That is my goal, because discovering that I had a soul, first of all, and then learning how to connect with my soul and make decisions from my soul, live from my soul, has absolutely changed my life and has left me feeling fulfilled and purposeful in a way that I literally did not think was possible. This is beyond my expectation for the experience I could have in this lifetime. And I want you to have that same incredible experience of feeling that connection and love, intention, fulfillment, purposefulness. I want you to feel all of that in your life. And so everything I share here on the podcast is with the intention to bring you closer to that deep connection with your soul, teach you what I have been learning about this soul connection, and help you to really develop in your personal and spiritual development. So that's my intention. That's my goal. I hope this speaks to your heart. And today we're talking all about soul desires. And I have to tell you, this was supposed to be a replay of a live I did on Instagram. However, it turns out I have some technical challenges, and I did this live video and then I deleted it. So I still wanted to share on the podcast some information about soul desires. So I'm re-recording it, and you get a fresh version of this introduction to what a soul desire is, along with some teachings about how to define your soul desires. This is going to be a pretty quick episode. And if you are interested in diving deeper to learning about your soul desires, learning how to apply this to your life and see these desires manifest in your life, then come hang out with me on Instagram, because every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I am doing a live session this month talking about soul desires and how to bring that into your life. The live videos will be on Wednesdays, and then they will be reposted to the podcast on Fridays, as long as I don't have too many technical difficulties. But I think I've figured out what went wrong, and hopefully I don't delete something again. But I also think it was sort of intentional from spirit that original audio got deleted, because as I reflected and prepared to start recording today, I have a little bit of a different perspective, a little bit of shift, some different examples that I want to bring in today that I didn't bring in on that live video. So you're getting something fresh here, and I really hope it speaks to your heart and helps to activate your ability to connect with your soul and to allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to desire. So last month on the podcast and on Instagram, we talked all about discovering your soul, connecting with your soul. And this month about soul desires, it builds on those teachings. So now that we have talked about knowing your soul, we've talked about defining our core values, we've talked about getting in touch with what our soul wants and needs. This month, I am going to encourage you to start dreaming from that place. Start dreaming of your life, what you want to bring into your life, how you want your life to look in the future. I want you to start dreaming about that, but from your soul, from this new awareness you have of who you truly are inside. And we're going to be dreaming like big, crazy dreams, the dreams that you haven't allowed yourself to dream of yet. That is what we're talking about this month. And so people can mean all kinds of things when they say the phrase soul desires, but what I mean is those big, incredible things that you want for your life, those big, huge dreams. And that is what we're talking about this month. I'm so excited about it. Hopefully you can hear how I'm so pumped up, and I'm going to share with you my big, great, huge soul desire that I have. Before I do that, though, I just want to tell you how to know if something is a soul desire or if something is what society tells us to want. Because all day, every day, we are bombarded with things society tells us that we should want. And I mean, society as a whole, like literally, we're getting advertisements all the time, and I also mean from our family and our friends and the expectations of what a good life is. We're kind of flipping that around. We're going to define a good life from our soul for ourselves, because I truly believe that the best life, the best, most fulfilling, satisfying life for everyone is so personal to them. I don't believe everyone is meant to buy a home, get married, settle down, have 2 kids, and have a career. I don't know. I don't think that's for everybody, because I know that doesn't light everyone up. Think about how many people are out there being their digital nomad self, traveling around, living this incredible life that is meant for them. And there's all kinds of other ways to live that will bring you joy, but you have to know who you are in your soul in order to know what that big dream is for you. And so the way to know if something is really a soul desire is first, of course, to start getting to know your soul, start building that connection within yourself. But then when you think about that desire, a soul desire has to have feeling behind it. It is based in feelings. It should light you up. This desire should bring you joy. It should make you so stinking excited. I'm going to share with you. I tried to make my soul desire be, I want to be a millionaire. Because that sounds incredible, right? Who doesn't want to be a millionaire? But the truth is, I could not get any of the excited magic feelings behind that in order to really feel it deep in my soul. When I say I want to be a millionaire, it feels a little bit empty. It doesn't feel fulfilling to me. Of course, I want to have $1 million, but there's no feeling, there's no purpose, there's no why behind that. Now, as I've gotten deeper connected with my soul and actually allowed myself to dream some really big dreams from knowing myself and from recognizing the things that my soul wants to experience in this world, I have a new big dream and it makes me so freaking excited. And I'm going to share it with you, even though it feels so far away from me. It also feels possible. And so my great big dream for my life, for my future, is to own a huge acreage, a bunch of land where I have forests, I have trails going through the forest, I have big clearings. Like, I just want nature. And I want to have the freedom to explore and be outside and be in nature and have this beautiful land to take care of. I can see a huge big farmhouse, maybe not huge. I can see a normal sized farmhouse on there where my family can live comfortably, but it's not so big that I have a huge house to take care of because I know that's not what I love or what I want. I can see there being a bunch of outbuildings where I can continue to pursue hobbies I have of like outdoor things I love to do. I love woodworking. I've got big gardens there where I grow amazing food for my family, where I grow so many flowers. There's room for my husband to pursue his dreams, his passions, because he has a lot of passions that relate to being in the outdoors. And then the magical part of this dream, it's all magical, it's all exciting to me, but I can totally see there is a section of this land that's either a campground or it's a bunch of cabins. And I manage those cabins. I manage that campground. People come and stay. I lead spiritual retreats. I host for people to have family reunions. It is a place of connection where people connect to each other, they connect to nature, they feel at home, they feel at peace, and they get the time to just to be in nature. And I get to provide that. I have so many plans and dreams for this space. And part of that big dream is that I have part of my acreage, part of my big land is that it gets to be self-sustaining. I still get to be a business owner, but I get to also just be outside and be active and be in nature. And I also get to talk about spirituality and I get to do all of the things that bring me joy. And if you had asked me, I don't know, 2 years ago, I would not have been able to tell you that dream because I wasn't allowing myself to think of something that huge, that big. But as I've learned to connect with my soul and understand the things that my soul desires, because my soul needs space, I need nature, I need freedom, as in being my own boss and having the physical space to feel free. I need that. I want that. It brings me so much joy. So, knowing that now, I have allowed myself to dream from that space, and this huge dream has come to life for me. I hope you can hear as I'm speaking, there's so much feeling behind it. There's so much passion. There's so much excitement. That is how you know it's a soul desire because there is that excitement, there is that yearning, there is that passion behind it. And when I tried to think, I want to be a millionaire, I just couldn't gather up that passion. And you know what? Maybe I still get to be a millionaire. Maybe you still get to be a millionaire. But the millionaire is not the soul desire. The soul desire is the journey, the path that brings you joy, that brings you fulfillment and purpose and all of the feelings that light you up. And so your soul desire is not your career. It's not what society tells you that you need to want. It's not the life that the world has planned for you. It's the life that your soul wants and needs to thrive. Those are your soul desires. And last month, we talked about how your knowing of your soul, your connection to yourself, it's going to change over time. You're going to discover more about yourself over time. And so these soul desires, my great big dream, we have to leave room for change, leave room for growth because who we understand ourselves to be is going to change over time. These desires are going to change over time, and that is fine. We can still do these great big dreams and leave room for shifting and changing and for the path to maybe go off onto a side path. Maybe we're going to take a big detour. That's fine. I just really want to encourage you to start thinking, what is it that I actually want? What is it that I actually dream for myself? What is the literal most magical, fulfilling life that I can perceive for myself right now? And that is the homework, the assignment that I want to leave you with is I want you to let yourself dream from your soul. Don't limit yourself by thinking about what's possible, because we're not living in a world where our brain is going to dictate what's possible for us. You and I and everyone else on this spiritual path, we are going to choose to live in a world where possibility is endless. Because when it comes to trusting the universe, believing in our soul, and really connecting with what's meant for us, truly the possibilities are endless. There is no limit to the potential that you have within you to live the life that is meant for you. And if you dream of something, you have this passionate soul desire within you, that's because it is meant for you. And next week, we're going to talk about learning how to trust and get behind these soul desires. We're going to talk about learning to accept and believe that these big dreams are meant for us, because I promise you, if you have the dream in your heart, it is meant for you. That's why Spirit put it there in your heart, in your dreams. That desire is there because it is meant for you. And we're going to talk all about developing that belief next week. So this week, don't worry about if you think something is possible. Dream anyway. Dream without holding back. Don't feel embarrassed because what you want is so huge and so far out there. But what I encourage you to do is to dream those huge, big dreams from your soul. And as you're dreaming, keep asking yourself, is there feeling behind this? How does this make me feel? How will it make me feel? Why do I want this? And the reason I want you to be asking that is because it's going to keep connecting you back to your soul, and make sure that these desires you're thinking of are what you actually want and not you absorbing the expectations of the world around you. Because we're not dreaming from the exterior, external world, we're dreaming from our soul. I also just want to encourage you, if you were hanging out with me last month when we talked about defining our core values and some of the practices we used to learn to connect more deeply with our soul, refer back to that stuff. Think, what are my core values? And that can help lead you to what these big soul desires are. It can kind of help guide you as you're trying to think, what do I want? And I also just want to say, like, you're not making a 5-year plan right now. You don't need to take this super seriously. I just want you to dream. Like, just dream. And even if you change your mind later, it literally doesn't matter. Right now, we are practicing our ability to ask our soul what we want out of this life and then dream about it. Like, just let it be fun and inspiring. And I encourage you to write it down also. Sometimes if we just think about something, that's going to float out of our brain in like an hour. I want you to write it down so you can kind of refer back to, what is this big dream? What is it that I want and that I'm desiring out of this life? And you can write it down and keep it in your mind, keep it in your journal, keep it with you. So that's all for today. I really hope this helped you to understand what I mean when I talk about a soul desire. And I hope that you really will take the time to start dreaming from your soul and just see what comes up for you. It can be kind of interesting as we're more connected to our soul to think about what we really want, and it can be sometimes a little surprising at what comes through. If you had asked me 2 years ago about this big dream of owning this big acreage, I would have said no way. Because I was in so much denial about my need for space in the outdoors and things like that. That wasn't even on my radar. And now that I've realized the amount of peace I get from nature and how I want that to be part of my everyday life, it was kind of surprising that that came through for me as I connected more deeply with my soul. So I hope you take this to heart. I hope that you do practice this big dream and write it down. If you want to share it with me, come find me on Instagram, and I'd love to chat about it. I'd love to hear what your big dream is. You can find me on Instagram at Suddenly Spiritual, and I will chat with you next week. There'll be links in the show notes if you want to come over to Instagram and join me for the live videos. So live next week on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Otherwise, you can catch me here on the podcast. I love you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Suddenly Spiritual podcast. I'm so grateful that I get to be part of your journey of spiritual expansion. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would leave a review for me on Apple Podcasts. It's a quick, free, easy way for you to support this podcast, and it helps me reach more people who are looking for support on their spiritual journey. You can find a link to leave a review in the show notes. Thank you so much, and I'll chat with you soon.